UFC Vegas, I don't even know what number it is at this point,
95.
Alex. 95 in Apex happened this week. As we alluded to in the intro, we picked 5 fights. We talked about 5 fights. Only 3 of those really happened. Half of one happened as well.
Yeah.
Overall, though, it was a fight card that had a lot of changes to it. Before we get to the main card, though, Alex, how about you recap the prelims and then recap the fights we didn't even talk about that happened too on the main card?
Yeah, let's do that. So starting off the prelims, Stephanie Luciano dismantled Toledo Island Carr through 3 rounds. This time she settled their draw from the Contender Series with Luana Luciano winning 30-27 on all the judges' scorecards. Next up, we saw Yusuf Zalal, the biggest favorite on the entire card, notch his 8th career submission with the first-round rear naked choke over Jarno Aarons. This was his 2nd straight UFC win and his 2nd straight UFC finish. So
building some momentum.
Yep, and it's also his 2nd stint in the UFC. Fun fact, he started off his first stint kind of similarly, started to put a streak together and then lost 3 straight. So let's hope he doesn't kind of do that fate again. Go to the big boys now. Jonata Diniz withstood Carl Williams' very few takedown attempts to remain undefeated and to win by unanimous decision. That was a pure game plan versus game plan matchup where Jonata Diniz had a more effective style where it kind of kept Carl Williams on the back foot the entire fight. And capping off the prelims, because everything got switched around and canceled, Karol Rosa dominated Pannie Kianzad through 3 rounds to cap off the prelims for UFC Vegas 95. She landed the damaging leg kicks. She opened up with some sharp elbows. She got a cut over Kianzad, landing obvious damage. It was honestly the best performance of Rosa's career, and I'm happy, I got to see it move all the way up to a prelim finale. So let's go straight to the main card from there. What's that?
She's climbing that ladder.
Yeah. Let's go straight to the main card. Toshiami Kazama defeated Charalampis Gregorio by 2nd round triangle choke. So we didn't talk about this one originally. This
got moved up late.
Yeah, this was one that I didn't want to touch at all because, it's a late notice in Kazama. It's weird. Round 1, Kazama came out surprisingly well with the clinch and then some immediate takedown. Kept it on the ground for the rest of the fight, or the rest of the round. Round 2, Gregorio tramples Koziyama, knocking him almost completely out. But because Gregorius blew his load too early, he was completely gassed.
Been there, done that.
Right? Completely gassed. Kazama ties up and gets the triangle choke off his back for a 2nd round finish. Damn good first UFC win. It was not his UFC debut. It was his first UFC win.
Yeah, it was entertaining. It was a fun win. It's always fun when a guy on his back gets a submission.
Yeah. It's not often that it happens. Honestly, these guys, Gregorio, he comes in with that heavy striking game plan. He's looking to knock you out, and it showed. Like, he clipped him hard in the 2nd round. Kazama almost went out. I think you got to thank Jason Herzog for not stopping the fight. Everybody's always talking shit that he's stopping fights early. He didn't stop this one early. The tables were turned. Kazama got the choke. Great showing, if you're going to impress Dana White on a fight card.
Fight card and a chance in the main event, so he took advantage of the situation.
Yes, sir. So one we did talk about next, Yana Santos returned to her striking prime against Chelsea Chandler, who missed weight by 5 pounds.
Yeah, that's unacceptable, honestly. And then you lose every round pretty much to the fight. Yeah, Yana Santos said after the fight this pretty much saved her UFC career, in her opinion. I would agree with that. I think she had
3 losses in a row.
3 losses in a row. Yeah, you don't.
But to her credit,
unless you're Tony Ferguson, you're not out. There's not a lot of fighters out there losing 4 in a row that are still in the UFC.
Look, her post-fight interview with Bisping. She said that she was breastfeeding. She was going through camps, breastfeeding and stuff. My wife just finished all that stuff, so I know how much it takes out of you. Being a professional fighter and trying to hold on to your career while you're doing that's got to be tough.
So we have Thiago Santos to blame.
Yeah, that's 100% right. Either way, Yana Santos did great. Very impressive striking. She won all 3 rounds. I don't know why they gave her 29-28.
Yeah, I feel like it was a comfortable shoot every round for her. Honestly, a disappointing performance from Chelsea Chandler. I think we both picked Chelsea Chandler coming in.
Yeah, we saw one other.
The performance coupled with the weight cut was just not a good look for her.
Yeah, you can't do that. But let's not harp on that too long. Let's hope Chelsea Chandler comes back better, at least in the weight class division or in a different weight class if you can't cut it. Either way, props to Yana Santos. Let's go to a fight that one of the fighters, Chris Gutierrez, still fought. Javid Basharat had to bow out. We were replaced with a Kang Lee. Gutierrez did as he always does. He utilized very damaging leg kicks throughout the entire fight. He hampered Lee's movement and power. Honestly, it was a great attempt for Lee, starting his UFC career. He got Gutierrez to the ground.
Tough guy to get your start against just because he's experienced. And as you said, we talked about it before the fight and in this fight, those leg kicks are deadly. And if you're not a veteran, if you're not used to that, especially at the UFC level, that's tough to deal with, and it showed.
Yeah, him and Jonathan Martinez, that camp and those leg kicks that they do together are absolutely horrendous. You have people complaining about it on Twitter because their boys are losing left and right to leg kicks, and they hate it. It seems like a UFC video game at this point for Chris Gutierrez. But I'm all for it. It was a good win, but it was closer than comfort because he did get taken down. He didn't accept a single position, so he immediately tried getting back up and, going back to work. He won 29-28, unanimous decision.
I think that's fair.
Let's talk about who's next for Chris Gutierrez. I have, as always, 3 options. I'm going to have 2, seemingly within reach, and I'm going to give you, or seemingly within reach, yes, but then I'm going to give you one reach. Okay? So first, Montel Jackson. He's the 15th ranked bantamweight on a 5-fight win streak with 4 KOs. That's option 1.
I would like to see that.
Chito Vera, option 2. Lost to back-to-back losses to O'Malley and Davison Figueiredo at 135. So it reasons to stand that somebody lower in the rankings, like Chito Vera, or middle in the top 15. I think he's 8th or something like that. It could be reasonable to see him have to take a test next against an up-and-comer like Chris Gutierrez, or not up-and-comer, but somebody vying for a ranking. Or my reach is Cody Durden. It was a draw when they first fought, Chris Gutierrez and Cody Durden. That's my reach. I don't think this one would happen at all because Cody Durden's currently in a different weight class. But, weight classes don't really mean anything.
See, I would actually disagree with you. I think the reach is Chito Vera. I don't think he's getting that fight next.
That's fair.
I think Chito's still a draw, and, who's the first guy you said?
Montel Jackson.
I think it's between
5-fight win streak, 4 KOs.
Jackson and Durden. I would actually like to see the Durden fight, although he is in a different weight class, as you said.
It's 10 pounds.
You have a draw. Let's hash it out. Let's see who the real winner is in there.
All right. Cool. So next up, Danny Barlow got to stay undefeated. That moves him to 9-0 in his split decision win over Nikolai Valentinnikov.
Another one we didn't cover.
But I've been practicing that name ever since I found it out.
I like it.
Barlow had the better strikes, although the output wasn't where we normally see it. We saw a crazy judge's scorecard on this one. It was 2 judges, 29-28 in favor of Barlow, and 1 judge, 30-27 in favor of Nikolai Valentinnikov.
Yeah, that's a crazy score. I could see maybe
29-28 in the other direction.
Even that I don't know about, but 30-27?
It's ridiculous. Absolutely. This was still a good performance for Barlow, but his striking output wasn't there. He said it was his first fight back off his broken hand. So he wasn't really in as much shape, trusting his punches as much. He's just getting back out there. He still had a good fight. He had control. He did the more damaging shots, on the ones that did land. It just wasn't the output we expected from Barlow, who's, had some crazy finishes in the past. Either way,
win's a win.
Next for Danny Barlow, left-handed god. Who are you going to give him? I got Basil Hafez, who's 1-1 in the UFC. Santiago Ponzinibbio, who's 1-4 in his last 5, but I have to argue for him in that case. He did face top competition in the division. Or Alex Morono, the Great White Shark, 2-3 in his last 5. His last fight was a loss, and he has a similar style where he's trying to get in close to you and kind of tear you apart from the inside.
I like the last one you had, Morono.
I like Alex Morono.
I like that one. I think it's, as you said, two similar fight styles. I think that would play out very nicely.
And I don't think
it'd be really a toss-up in my opinion.
And I don't think Morono's ranked. If he is ranked, he's ranked near the bottom of the top 15. That kind of is what all Dana likes to always do. You got an undefeated guy looking to get his 10th in a row win against somebody who could very well just be not just a gatekeeper for the welterweight division. All right, so the next fight, this was a fun one. This was an absolute beatdown.
Another weight miss though, right?
By 3 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chepe Mariscal defeated Damon Jackson by unanimous decision.
But he did not defeat
the scale. Yeah.
He apologized after, so I'll give him that.
Yeah, and that is a rare miss for Chepe. You know, this is one that he doesn't usually miss weight. We've seen him in the UFC. We picked him prior to
yeah, but as you said, he looked very impressive despite the weight miss and everything.
It was.
The leech stood no chance. Leech stood no chance.
Jackson. The fight could have been stopped in the second, but Herzog let it continue. Honestly, it's the same story for the third. It could have been stopped in the third, but Damon Jackson, in Herzog's eyes and in mine, he was doing just enough, you know, moving around, throwing his hands back up.
His name's the Leech, but he could be the Worm too, because he wiggles around. He does just enough where you can't stop the fight.
Yeah, that's a good one. Now, it wasn't an egregious, you know, late stoppage or anything like that. Nothing like that. It was a good fight, good decision, crazy scorecards, 30-26, 30-25, and 30-25. I love to see it. That's what I call chaos in the ring.
Crazy scorecards, but they're not bad scorecards.
No,
I think Mariscal dominated this fight.
Right. It was 100% accurate on the scorecards, and I really appreciate a chaos scorecard like that.
I think Mariscal probably, out of everybody on this card, improved his stock the most with his performance. It was the most impressive, in my opinion. So maybe besides the main event.
Who is next for the 4-0 UFC featherweight Chepe Machine Gun Mariscal? You want me to tell you my 3 options?
Give me 3 options, Alex.
Sean Woodson, who's 6-1-1 in the UFC, but only has 1 finish. I think that would be really a good change up from Mariscal. Even though Sean Woodson's like 6'3" with 90-foot reach, I think Chepe Mariscal could get in and do some damage against him. Bryce Mitchell is Chepe Mariscal's loss previous to the UFC. Bryce Mitchell is 3-2 in his last 5, but he did lose to top heavy hitters, Josh Emmett, Crazy Hands,
I think he's still,
and Ilya Taporia.
He's still trying to wake up from that Josh Emmett knockout.
He's still talking crazy shit on Instagram about all kind of just crazy things. Or Giga Chikadze has big wins over competition, but has a couple losses that could, in my mind, argue a Chepe Mariscal quick interaction. That one I have to say is my biggest reach because Giga Chikadze is like 39, and he doesn't have any business fighting.
I think it's
Mariscal.
I agree with you. I think that one's a little out of reach.
But
Bryce Mitchell would be a good
because
one.
I like looking at the stats of all these guys, especially in the recent times.
Bryce Mitchell would be a good one. Try to avenge your loss. What was the first guy you said?
Sean Woodson, the gigantic. He used to be a heavyweight boxer.
Sean Woodson would be the one I think is most likely to happen.
I think so too. All right, let's talk about the quickest fight of the night.
Quickest fight of the night in Spivac.
Only by 11. Oh no, by 1 round in 11 seconds. Sorry.
The quickest fight in the main card.
Yeah.
Spivak, first round submission of Tybura. Spivak avenged his loss. What was it, 5-6 years ago against Tybura?
Yeah. Last episode when we were talking about when we were giving our predictions for this card, I talked a lot about
2020,
growth.
so 4 years ago.
Yeah, I talked a lot about growth, and 4 years of growth is a hell of a way to grow, especially with what he did. He walked into the very durable Marcin Tybura and subbed him under 2 minutes.
Got
a minute, 44
A
seconds.
sick, slick armbar.
Verbal tap.
Verbal tap, and that means he was breaking his arm. And Bisping called it. Bisping and Felder kind of called it on the call.
Yep.
Impressive performance from Spivak. As you said, he came in. He showed improvement in the 4 years since the last time they met. And, I think I said Mariscal maybe improved his stock the most. I think Spivak's right there, too. This was a great win for him.
Yeah, the only issue with Spivak not improving his stock, quote-unquote, as much is because he's already in the top of the division. You know, he's already deserved of another top-ranked opponent. Which
normally the heavyweight, if you get a big win like this, though, you're right up to the top. It's kind of logjam right now with the interim title and Stipe and Jones.
Also, there's just this stiff competition in the top 7, top 10. I mean, even with the guys who have a couple of losses, they're all murderers. It's a heavyweight division.
But overall, Spivac, this was a great performance from him.
I got
Yeah, that's all you
questions
can
for
say.
you, though. Who is this man going to fight next? He didn't call anybody out. The polar bear doesn't call people out. He says,
Still only 29, which is a baby for a heavyweight.
yeah, they fight until they're 40 all the time.
Yeah, I mean, look at Tybura.
Jailton Almeida, who's the 7th ranked, called him out. He's 7-1 in the UFC.
That would be a very interesting matchup.
Spivac's response, tell him to train or let him train, something like that, which is very cool because he was like at the interview table. So that was cool. Next, Curtis Blades, who's 3-2 in his last 5.
Razor Blades.
He's a 5th ranked heavyweight. One of your favorite fighters. And
Do you like Razor Blades?
Just lost to Tom Aspinall.
Got demolished by Tom Aspinall, who's
Hate to see it.
I like even more. So
Yeah, right.
I'm all right with it.
And then
Sorry, Curtis.
next, last, biggest reach, Serial Gone.
He just fought him. I don't think he's getting Serial gone again.
That's why I said my biggest reach. It's a rematch, pecking order. You know, it's the thing. So I don't think that one's going to happen. I admit, I do think personally that the Jailton Almeida fight's probably the most likely.
I think that's the most likely. I would like to see him versus Razor Blades, though. I think that would be an interesting matchup.
And
Both guys
don't-
have ground game. Both guys have, some power.
Also, with Spivac being 29, it's reasonable that he fights both of
Both
these
of these
men at some
guys,
point.
yes.
Yeah. Do you think Spivac should fight Almeida or Blades more next?
I would like to see Blades.
Fifth rank for Blades, 7th rank for Almeida.
I would like to see Blades. I think the more realistic one is Almeida.
All right, let's go with Almeida. Cool. So that's going to wrap up with the recap. Wrap up the
Recaps.
recap of UFC Vegas 95, Marcin Tybura versus Serghein Spivac 2.